So, what if an ancient text held a modern key to, well, to rewiring our entire mindset around money, fear, and stability? Today, we're going to explore exactly that. Let's start with a pretty big question. What if your biggest financial hurdles aren't really about your job or the economy? What if they're actually these invisible forces running the show inside your own head? That's the core idea we're unpacking today. To really get a handle on this, we've got to talk about something called hidden money scripts. Just think of them as these subconscious programs that are running your financial life, totally on autopilot. And we're not just talking about fleeting thoughts here. No, these are deep-seated internal scripts that dictate our gut reactions to earning, to spending, to saving, and they're almost always tied to really powerful emotions like fear, guilt, or even shame. Do any of these sound familiar to you? That constant fear of not having enough, or maybe feeling guilty when you start to earn more? Or what about that belief that having money is somehow corrupting, that it'll make you a worse person? These are some of the most common scripts that can really hold people back. So, if those are the old scripts running the show in the background, how in the world do you install a new one? Well, this is where a pretty unconventional tool comes into play, an ancient text, Psalm 112, which is proposed as a kind of powerful counter script. Now, it's so important to understand this is not about typical positive affirmations, shouting, "I am rich" in the mirror. While those things might give you a temporary little hype up, the idea here is fundamentally different. It's about forming your character and building real long-term stability, not just trying to force a belief on yourself. So, how exactly is speaking an ancient text out loud supposed to replace a fear that you've had for years? Let's get into the psychological mechanism that's being proposed here. The core concept is actually simple but incredibly powerful. You can't just erase an old mental script. You have to replace it with something else. The theory is, by repeatedly speaking the words of this psalm, you're literally giving your mind a new, more constructive track to run on. It's almost like a form of cognitive reframing, just using an ancient blueprint. And what's so fascinating is how this psalm actually works. It doesn't really talk about money directly. Instead, it describes an inner state of being. And just notice how these descriptions, a steady heart, being generous, feeling anchored, are the exact opposite of a mind that's ruled by financial anxiety. It's basically modeling a new internal normal for you. Okay, this is where it gets really practical. The source material shows how you can literally match your specific hidden scripts, your specific fears, with direct lines from the psalm that act as a counter agent to them. Okay, take this first example. If your hidden script is a fear of loss, that feeling that any good news is just going to be followed by bad news, the counter script isn't, "I will be fine." It's a statement of character. He will not be afraid of bad news. His heart is firm. See? It's about building resilience, not just blind optimism. Or what about this one? That deep-seated feeling of unworthiness, or maybe the belief that you're just doomed to be unstable forever. The psalm offers this simple, powerful anchor. Surely he will never be shaken. It's a declaration of stability that isn't dependent on how you feel from one day to the next. And what about that moral block? The belief that wealth is inherently corrupting? Well, the psalm reframes this entirely. It describes the prosperous person not as greedy, but as someone whose very character is defined by righteousness and generosity. All of a sudden, prosperity becomes a tool for good, not some source of corruption. Okay, so that's the theory. But how do you actually do this? Let's break down this simple daily ritual that's designed to turn this idea into a transformative habit. So the practice itself is a really simple, mindful process. First, you just read it aloud. Then, on the second time through, you slow way down and you really notice your internal reactions, any resistance, any doubt. Then journaling helps you actually put words to the old script and the new one that's taking its place. And finally, you lock it all in by speaking one key line with real conviction. And here is a really crucial insight for this practice. Don't ignore the parts that make you uncomfortable. The source material suggests that the feeling of irritation is the signal. That's your hidden block showing itself to you. That is precisely where the work needs to be done. As we start to wrap up, it's so important to see the bigger picture here. The goal isn't just to play whack-a-mole with all your financial fears. The ultimate aim of this practice is to model and to build an entirely new consciousness, one that operates from a place of stability and generosity, not from fear and scarcity.
Which leaves us with one final question to think about. This whole exercise, it's designed to teach you not just what abundance looks like in your bank account, but what it actually feels like on the inside as your default way of being. And that right there is a pretty powerful thought to end on.